I want to go back to September 11th. This is a moment that pretty much every American remembers where they were, what they were doing. And there's a lot of these different kinds of moments. There was the recent hurricane and flooding in Houston. There was the hurricane in Puerto Rico. There's the school shootings that are happening now. There's a lot of these events that people say, oh, that event changed my life, but they didn't really change their life.
Correct.
When this happened for you, it really did change your life. Why did you take that next step? Instead of so many people saying, I'm going to do something, and they don't really do it, you did something. Why do you think you took that next action?
It's no different than setting goals and taking action on goals. That was something that really changed my life. I remember sitting in my living room of a small apartment in Miami, Florida, where I was in law school, and turned on the TV. I was getting ready to head to the gym and head to class that morning, and the world changed. It changed fundamentally at that moment. And I really felt a calling to do something different. I mean, I was in law school to do corporate law. I had a finance degree from Boston College. My goal was to get out and do mergers and acquisitions, to be a corporate attorney. And I realized at that moment, maybe it was at that moment was what made me realize that I can do something bigger than just myself. So I started looking at joining the military. I talked to the recruiters in the Army and the Marine Corps and the Navy and the Air Force and to the JAG program, and it seemed like an amazing program. And so I ended up joining the Army, and I was commissioned less than a year and a half later at that point in time.
Wow, it's very admirable. And again, you took that next step, you set that goal, and you reverse engineered how to do it. You talked to the right people, you went through that process, and ultimately led you to what you're doing today.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. 15, 20 years ago, I would have never imagined, Greg, that I'd be where I am at today. I mean, so it's amazing how one moment in your life can start changing many, many things. You see that whether it's 9/11, the floods, maybe it's a moment in your life, maybe it's something you have a discussion with a family member or a friend, or something happens in your life. Even if it's negative, you can take that moment and pivot from it. And what you often see is that that has dramatic consequences on your life that you don't realize in a year, 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. I mean, that moment led me to joining into the military, where I knew nothing about the military. My father had served in Vietnam, but at that time, I knew nothing. From there, going through the military and going from Fort Hood to Hawaii to Korea, and then where I really fell into defending service members and finding a love for it and a passion for it. Then moving that to essentially privatizing it and doing what I'm doing now, I couldn't even imagine. But I think that's one of the pivotal moments in my life when I was in my living room in Miami, Florida, on Southwest 67th Street, watching that. That's when a lot of this changed, and that's we're going on almost 20 years now. And so it's amazing how one small event, if you take action on an event that could change your life, can start changing everything.
Yeah, it's like a butterfly effect, because you could still be in Miami just practicing law locally.
I may be. I may have been.
You had no idea.
I mean, because I was clerking at an amazing law firm there. I probably would have been able to stay at that law firm, and I may still be in Miami. So I may not have ever met my wife. I may not have had this. I clearly wouldn't have the same life I do now. And so single moments can be extraordinarily pivotal.